Hi, this is Nicholas Yock, a registered migration and education agent from Pathway to Oz. Today, I'm going to discuss something that we get asked by a ton of students, is can I get PR or permanent residency as an individual support worker? Okay, so look, we have a lot of students who work, maybe for the NDIS or in some sort of realm like that, or working in an aged care setting, and it's very common to be asked, what are my PR options? All right, so look, the base qualification for a disability support worker or aged care support worker is, generally speaking, a Cert 3 in individual support or disability support. This can be studied in all major cities and is always going to be a requirement. Now, look, even though there is a lot of demand for individual support workers and the pay's, pretty decent depending on where you're working, the visa options are actually quite limited. This is because the occupation for a disability support worker or aged care support worker is assessed as quite low, and it's not really on many government lists. So it's not on the 190, 491, 189, 482. It's not on most lists. So the number of visas you can apply for is very, very limited. One option you can apply for is the employer-sponsored visa, but you need to be in a specific Dharma area, which is a really regional area, or have an employer which has a specific labour agreement. So you'll know that the government recently came out for the aged care industry and made a special labour agreement for them, which basically allows applicants to get sponsored and progress to PR after 2 years if they're working in an aged care facility. There are some sort of requirements there that the employer needs to apply for and obtain a labour agreement for you to then be able to get sponsored by that employer. But if you're in a major city, that's probably the only way that you're going to get that PR as a support worker. Otherwise, if you go to certain regional areas, you can get sponsored through the Dharma, which is a special type of labour agreement, as a support worker as well. If not, the options are quite limited. Some of the regions where you can go to get sponsored for a support worker, not in an aged care setting, is Northern Territory, South Australia, far north Queensland. If you want to remain in a major city and you don't want to work in an aged care setting, you potentially could look to upskill to become maybe a community worker or a family support worker. So the reason is these occupations are on a lot more government lists. So they're on the 190 list, the 491 list, the 482 list, which means that you can be invited by a lot of different states to apply for these visas. Please note, in order to do this, you will generally need to have studied for at least a minimum diploma level qualification and meet the education and work experience requirements to pass that skill assessment. So there are a lot of diploma level qualifications relevant to that field, which you can study in most major cities. But if you've only got a Cert 3, it might be difficult to be able to pass that skill assessment for one of those occupations and try and get any sort of PR pathways in a major city. Now, if you are looking for different courses which can skill you in the relevant field, feel free to contact Pathway to Oz. We can show you the options, locations, costs, everything like that. Look, we do have a lot more information on the specific Dharma visas, the specific 190, 491, all those different types of visas. We'll put the links below, so check those out. Look, I hope you did find that information helpful. And if you do have any other questions, feel free to contact Pathway to Oz. Thanks.